What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Double Coverage, the official NFL podcast of the Gin Sports Network. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on a Wednesday, the 4th of January, 2023. We're finally here. We're in 2023, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm here joined with our NFL guy, NFL insider, Branden Smith. Branden, how we doing today, buddy?
Hey, we're doing pretty good. As you can see, no camera, but hey, we're fighting. We're still fighting out here, and all in all, doing well.
Hey, that's good to hear. That's good to hear, man. You gotta keep battling, and we're dealing with some technical issues at the moment here at GSN, but we're powering through it. We're powering through it. We're getting through it, and yeah, the virtual podcasting game has its hurdles, and I think we all know that. But the best thing, the most important thing, is that we keep these conversations going no matter what, because there's certain things that have transpired, especially in the NFL, that are worthy of discussion. They're worthy of conversation, and they have to be addressed. A lot of them have already been addressed to those that need to know. But it affects things. It affects the future of the NFL, and it affects how the game is played and how it's perceived. And I think a lot of times, it can really, we can take for granted what we do as viewers. What do we expect from the players? How do we expect them to, take the field and do what they have to do for us? It's a lot, and I think a lot of it is taken for granted most of the time. And because of that, it's just the reality of the beast. I guess let's talk about the DAMAR HAMLIN thing and how he had cardiac arrest after tackling T. Higgins on Monday Night Football. And it was something that we didn't expect to see as viewers. I don't think anybody did. And I guess how did that affect the morale,
Yeah,
not only in the
John.
stadium, but just everywhere?
I just think that the one word to describe that incident, the injury that happened there on Monday night, is just shock. Shocking. You know, just did not. No one there that night going to that game, preparing to watch it on TV, was going to expect anything like that to transpire, and then that early in the game, right?
Right.
So it just was very shocking. Everyone was very shocked, and I was shocked, of course. It's just a bummer to see someone get hurt ever, and then the severity of the injury, having to have CPR. Obviously, we know it was cardiac arrest there. It's just, man, we need some answers. We need some answers of how to get to this. I mean, it just seemed so random, right? So
Yeah, definitely. It did seem random, and it didn't look like it was a contact injury. And the thing I compared it to was it was a Denmark game back in, I believe, 2021, where we saw Christian Eriksen, Denmark player, Denmark striker, have cardiac arrest on the field, and it was shocking to watch as a viewer. Even on TV, and I'm sure even for the viewers there, especially for the viewers there, the teammates. I saw a lot of the similar facial expressions from teammates, from opponents. No matter how you slice it, and it was a very similar situation to what we saw Monday night, and just the unknown, being in the unknown is crazy terrible, especially if you're there, if you're a teammate. But for even the viewers back home or analysts, NFL guys, Adam Schefter got chopped up, and he was lost for words, and kind of just wishing his best wishes and prayers to the family, to the team, and things of that nature. It was a shocking experience for everybody, and it's been overanalyzed, it's been talked about a lot, but this is a thing that has to be talked about. We see more and more athletes falling to cardiac arrest, whether they pass away or not. If they pull through, then usually there's an underlying issue. Even if they pass away, a lot of times there's an underlying cardiac issue that either went undetected, undiagnosed, or it just wasn't treated properly when it maybe should have. But no matter what, I think this is going to create a big pull for more screening, for more outreach and awareness towards cardiac health, especially in these athletes. And it's going to have to come to the forefront because we're seeing too much of it. The stats are showing that these types of cases are up. And a lot of these guys, even Booger McFarland, I remember hearing his statements, and he was talking about how he had never seen anything even close to this before during his time playing or his time as a commentator. So I don't know. I guess what do you think it's going to take for the league to do? What kind of action should they be taking to at least do what they can to alleviate this type of thing from happening again.
Yeah, honestly, John, they have the best doctors and facilities in the United States of America, right? Uh, one of the best, the top notches, right? Maybe they need to do more extensive screenings. I'm not real sure what's going to take. They need better screening, more maybe more like I said, more extensive screening. I mean, this guy's been in the league for 2 years. Just didn't see it coming. No one saw it coming there. Um,
But yeah, you got a healthy individual, right? DAMAR HAMLIN came out of Pitt, really strong guy. I mean, you got to be strong, you got to be athletic to be in the NFL in the first place. Okay, first and foremost. I don't have to tell you that. But you see a lot of these things happen to people with the same type of story. They have, they are in good health. They got to be on somewhat of a nutritional regimen where they're not going to be taking too many supplements that are going to be off the charts and going to be, I mean, definitely for PEDs, right? For performance enhancing drugs purposes, they're not going to be taking anything that's going to be enhancing their heart rate unless it's, completely off the radar and not on the books. But I don't know. It's just, what do you pinpoint it to? How can
well,
you pinpoint it?
we don't know if this Hamlin guy had any prior history of any kind of health conditions. I mean, nothing's been said about that. It's just we're gonna figure out when the doctors come out with an explanation of what happened, and we'll have more of a reasoning behind our assumptions here. But you don't see it happen. This often doesn't happen. You often don't see these professional athletes dropping, you know, doing something extensive and then getting up and then dropping back down. Going cardiac arrest. You don't see this. I mean, this is a very rare instance. So I think it's getting blown out of proportions when it comes to the people talking about the physicality of sports and how it is more harmful and or the percentages are going up and this and that. Hey, look, man, this is what happens when you sign up to play these sports. When you go sign up, you put your name on that sheet, and you're gonna go strap on the helmet, put on those pads, and enjoy everything that comes with the sport involved. That's what you're partaking in. You're partaking in the potentiality of injury, of losses and heartbreak, of absolute triumph, right? Shit's gonna
Right,
happen. All I can hope is that it doesn't end with a life or death situation, right? That's when it's a worst case scenario.
right.
But again, like I said, it's very very rare.
Yeah, yeah. You're not going to expect to see this. You're going to a football game on a Monday night or a Sunday 1 o'clock game. You're not going to be expecting to see this, no matter what you're doing. Even if you're at a high school game, you're not going to be expecting to see this type of thing, and it's not something that is a life or death sport, right?
Hmm.
So when I was in Canada, I went over to Canada for the holidays, right? And I was over there a couple days after Christmas, and my uncle is a softball coach over there at the college, national championship winning coach over there, Doug Wiseman, the St. Clair College Saints. Okay. And we were in that facility, and there were some individuals that were there. Great facility, by the way, multi-million-dollar facilities. There were guys in there playing cricket. Okay, and they were talking about, oh yeah, 'cause just a couple weeks ago, two guys from Australia died playing cricket. Okay, now that is a different scenario where you're going on that pitch, the field, whatever you want to call it, and you have a very high probability of not walking off that field under your own fruition. And where I draw that distinction to the game of football and to the gridiron specifically is the fact that it's a battlefield out there. And I had some crass comments that were looked at possibly in the wrong light when I say the football field is a battlefield. Okay, now that can be taken as a literal sense or in a figurative sense. Now I think there's a mixture of both, a good hefty there's a little bit of both in there as far as the truth to it. The figurative sense is obviously you don't go out there expecting to die or to pass away or to even risk your life. You're going out there with a lot of potential to walk off the field under your own fruition. Okay, obviously you play smart, you keep your head on a swivel, and you make sure you keep yourself safe out there. Okay, but in the literal sense, there's a very significant probability that in the game of football, with the contact, with all the different things that we have as elements of the game of football that we all have grown and loved and known forever, is that there's a lot of contact. There's a lot of things. The human body can take a certain amount of hits. As we got guys that watch UFC, MMA. We see that happen, and that's where it's very vividly displayed. But in the game of football, it's no exception, and you're having contact happen, and whether or not that contact, causes the injury, the life or death potential
Yeah.
is it's more or less vague. But
And
bottom line,
John,
it's a possibility.
and the thing, even with this one, it's not even contact related. I mean, the game's a
Right.
contact sport, but the hit itself is not one where you'd say, "Holy cow, the brutality of the sport caused whatever has happened to him." You
Right.
you couldn't say that, right?
Not in this instance, but I say overall, generally speaking, that's something that has to be noted before you put your shoulder straps on and put your shoulder pads on, chin strap, and strap on those cleats. That's something you have to have going through your head. Obviously, don't play with the fear of that happening. You'll never make it off the field that way, right? And you got to have the mentality of, okay, I'm going to go get the job done. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do things at 100 miles an hour, and good things are going to happen. That's the mindset you have to have. But as is for any sport, anything that is physically demanding on the body is something where a significant amount of risk, bodily harm, is in play at all times.
Hmm.
And but yeah, you're right. In this instance, it was not a contact injury, or at least it didn't appear to be. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, you can dig and dive deep into this as much as possible. Although we want to make sure everybody knows right now, right here, is that DAMAR HAMLIN's family, himself, and the entire Bills Mafia, and every athlete, I would say every athlete can be embodied in this scenario because everyone knows about it, everyone is aware of it, and it affects all different sports. That they're all in our prayers right now, in our thoughts. And I don't know. I guess I hope that he can recover and make it back to the game of football again, right? That's what the hope is, and go out there and play with his team and do what he has to do to get the job
Yeah. Yep.
done.
Yep. Absolutely.
Especially the Bills, considering the Bills are a huge, not only playoff contender but a Super Bowl contender. And I'm not sure where the odds have went, over the course of the season, as far as the Bills being a favorite to win the Super Bowl. But I got to assume they're still up there somewhat.
I'm not sure Hamlin will play again this year. I mean,
Maybe
that's
not
pretty
this year, but at some
right.
point.
Yeah, pretty dramatic there.
Yeah. Yep, as it stands, DAMAR HAMLIN is still in critical condition in the ICU and over there in Cincinnati. And our thoughts and prayers are with him at this time. Hopefully, he can pull through and bring it back. Bring that game of football, bring that mentality, that killer mentality that you have to have as a football player. Bring that back to the gridiron, and he can begin and start playing the game he loves again. So he's a young man, 24 years old, got a lot of life, got a lot of health left in him, a lot of good years of football. So we're hoping and pulling for the best for him. We've seen it happen, though. I'll just connect this back to Christian Eriksen and the Denmark national team, men's national team in soccer back in the Euros. He did make a full recovery, and he actually played in the World Cup last month, a couple months ago. So there's got to be they found something with Christian Eriksen. They found something that was undiagnosed. They had
Mm.
him treated, and he's back out there competing, playing the game he loves. So it's possible, and we're pulling for him, hoping for the best, and it's looking good right now. Let's hope it stays that way. Let's move on, though. Let's talk about some playoff predictions. Obviously, there's a certain amount of teams that have clinched a playoff spot, and we won't go over those teams too much. Obviously, the Bills and the Bengals that we've talked about already during the show, they have clinched playoff spots. Where the question comes in with the game that was eventually suspended and doesn't look like it's going to be replayed given the structure of the scheduling with the year as it stands. The only thing that will really be affected is the seeding, and nothing has been officially determined by the NFL yet about that game specifically between the Bills and the Bengals. A very anticipated game, something that we were looking forward to quite a bit. I think I can speak for both of us there. It's just going to be a great game, and I was looking forward to seeing it, especially as an AFC matchup where both these teams are very high contenders for the playoffs and even Super Bowl berths. So won't talk about those teams too much more now, but we can talk about the teams that are in the hunt. So looking at the NFC North, got a huge NFC North matchup this weekend between the Lions and the Packers. And certain things need to transpire. Okay, Lions fans, this is going towards you. Certain things have to transpire for your Lions to make it to the playoffs. Okay, the Lions have to win against the Packers this weekend. The Packers are hot. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, the Packers are hot right now, and they're starting to play like the postseason Packers that we've seen in years past. Not only do the Lions have to win, but the Seahawks have to lose to the Rams, and that's a toss-up there. Both teams stand. Actually, all three teams in question, the Seahawks, the Lions, and the Packers, sit at 8-8 in the NFC. So for the Packers to get into the playoffs, they just have to beat the Lions. Doesn't matter what happens with the Seahawks. And for the Seahawks to get in, they have to win against the Rams, and the Lions also have to win. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic there. But the Seahawks, basically, they get in, they're in with the Packers' loss. But if the Packers win, I believe the Seahawks and the Lions are both packing. So interesting dynamic
Yeah,
there. I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
what's your analysis? How do you look at that? How do you look at that considering the games this weekend between the Seahawks and the Rams and the Lions and the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to, the Lions control their own destiny. They got to beat the Packers, number one. So at the end of the day, they got to go out there and do their job. And when it comes to Seahawks and Rams, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic there. You still got Baker in the backfield, it seems. And what happens if the Lions win and the Seahawks lose?
Then the Lions get in.
Really?
If the Lions win and the Seahawks lose, yes. But if the Lions, I believe, so this is an interesting scenario. Imagine the Seahawks lose, or wait, the Seahawks win and the Lions win. I think the Seahawks get in then. Is that what you just said? Yeah. So there's some math there that I'll be honest with you. I'm not a math major. I've told you guys that multiple times. Very simple. Let me go over it one more time. This is how everyone gets in. The Seahawks, for them to get in, they need to win against the Rams, and they need the Lions to beat the Packers. If the Lions want to get in, they have to beat the Packers, and the Seahawks need to lose to the Rams because the Seahawks won against the Lions in a close matchup way back when. Okay? For the Packers to get in, they just have to win. Doesn't matter if the Seahawks win, doesn't matter if the Seahawks lose. If the Seahawks win and the Packers win, the Seahawks are out. Okay? Packers are
Right.
in. There's only room for one team here.
Right.
That's what has to be noted.
Mm.
There's only room for one team. So certain events have to happen. One of those three situations will unfold, and one of those three results we will get. So that's all we have to really focus on there. I guess looking at the NFC, the Vikings did themselves a huge service by playing well throughout the majority of the regular season early on. Had some falters later on, but it was a bumpy ride, I would say. And just to see the performance with another NFC North matchup between the Vikings and the Packers this past weekend, I was impressed with the Packers. I guess what do the Lions have to be worried about with this basically reborn Packers team that we're seeing?
Well, it's at Green Bay. Look, it's going to be pretty cold, of course. Man, hey, look. The Packers defense has really stepped up playing well. They've awoken. The secondary has awoken. So, in my opinion, the Packers have the edge here, of course. But if the Lions come out and they play offensively as well as they have been and have shown throughout the season, they could pull off a win here. I know, we beat them once, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is wanting to whoop our ass now. So, when you got revenge, it's one thing to have Aaron Rodgers, and then there's another thing to have revenge Rodgers. So
Right.
it's gonna be interesting. We'll see what happens. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is, up there with Tom Brady as one of the best to ever do it, and he's figured out with the pieces he's got around him. The receiving core went out, Christian Watson. What a rising star he is. But it should hopefully be a good game, and hopefully the Lions can just, regardless, just go out there. It's potential last game of the year, right? So just go out there and do what you can.
Yeah, got to go out there, leave it all on the field. I guess how do you play? Say you were in the NFL, Spinny. Say you were in the NFL, and you're preparing for this game. Let's just say you're Aaron Rodgers or the Packers or you're the Lions about to play in Lambeau. Cards are stacked against you historically. Um, I guess how do you go into this game considering what happened with DAMAR HAMLIN? I mean, are players going to be playing scared, or can we expect to see that,
No,
or
Jesus.
is this Well,
This is
I feel like it can't be brushed under the
this is
rug. I mean, this is
National
something that
Football
affected.
League.
This
It's
affected the league.
it's gonna
This
it's
affected the world of sports.
it's it didn't affect the world of sports. It affected DAMAR HAMLIN and the Bills organization and and the Hamlin family. That's who it affected. It affected the people that were betting on the game and everyone else. It affected a lot of people, but it did not affect the sports world. This guy, he had a cardiac arrest from an uncontacted play other than the tackle. Okay, we're gonna find out more potentially. Um, but it's gonna, they're gonna have a shrine about it. They're gonna talk about it. Hopefully, DAMAR can make it through it. Right, that's number one. If they get news, I don't know. Say they get news and he doesn't make it. There's no way they're gonna cancel the weekend. I couldn't believe it. Right, life goes on, and it sounds very harsh, but you know, there's definitely gonna be some. It's gonna be recognized. People, players and whatnot have already made their stake into their sayings and whatnot. I'm sure the broadcast are gonna talk about it. They're gonna say some good words on it. But at the end of the day, these are professional athletes. They're getting paid millions of dollars, and your boss and everyone else's boss and my boss, they expect us to show up. We get some sick days and some days off for funerals and whatnot, but you gotta show up to work.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. So, as harsh as it does sound, we are all replaceable. There's a backup for whatever position we're in. There's people that will do our job and possibly try to do it better. So I think that has to be recognized first. Okay, given that the games must go on. I mean, you can't stop the world because something happened. Yes, you can be changed from it. Yes, take the time to give the support and love that these people need to them. But at certain points in the thing, and I think DAMAR HAMLIN and anyone else that would be in this position, they want their team to play. They want everyone to play. Okay, they don't want the world to stop because of whatever happened. Okay, regardless of the situation, the show must go on. That has always been true for throughout the course of history, and it will always be true. Okay, so yes, I think it's worthy of taking the time, recognize where we came from, where we were, and how can we become better because of whatever happened. And I think that DAMAR and everyone else in his shoes would want that. So let's look at the teams on the bubble for the AFC. The Miami Dolphins fall to 8-8, and they face the Jets this weekend. The Steelers have the Browns. They sit at 8-8. Talk about a success story, man. Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, cool head, and no one does it better in the NFL, in my opinion, as far as being cool-headed and being somebody that can handle adversity and power through. Not the best season. Then you got the Tennessee Titans sitting at 7-9. They're going to need some things to happen if they want to make it, and they face the
Let's just
Jaguars
talk
this
about that
week.
real quick. Yeah, they
Yeah,
gotta beat all that needs to happen is they beat the Jaguars. They're in. If the Jaguars beat the Tennessee Titans at home, they're in.
yeah.
Easy math there.
Easy math indeed. And it's going to be a roller coaster here going through this weekend, seeing what happens, knowing that the players and the teams, they know the sequence of events that have to take place for them to make it. So if they can figure that out, and I mean, we're gonna have some close games. We're gonna have some, some down and distance plays. We're gonna have some teams go for it on fourth down. Maybe they shouldn't, or
Oh,
maybe they
right.
think they have to. There's gonna be
Potentially.
some desperation going on here.
I think with what you said there, following that, I think they know what they need to do. That's it. Again, these guys are the most professionals that there is, right? Top. They ain't worried about anyone else but themselves and what they gotta do on the field on Saturday or Sunday. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, well said. I think you're right. And at a certain point too, with certain teams that have to win and they need other teams to lose or
Mm,
other teams to win, they can only control so much at that point.
right.
And there's a lot of hopes and prayers that will go on from there, but that has to be considered and taken with a grain of salt. So
Right.
we'll see
I
what
mean,
happens.
with your point, I mean, for example, the Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars, they know what the implications are in their game. So you're right. There might be a potentiality with there might be a 4th and 5 that we might see early on, just because of however the game's going.
Right.
But give me the Jaguars. I'm not even sure what the spread is on that. Let's see. 6. They're cover.
Jaguars and Titans taking the Jags, huh? At
They're gonna
home.
cut. They're gonna cover that 6.
Are they giving them 6? Or are they taking it away
Jags
from
are a
them?
6 point favorite.
Jags are 6-point favorites.
Yeah,
So Jags -6.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Hey.
They got who's starting? I think they changed their. I think the Titans changed their quarterback again. Oh yeah, it's Dobbs.
Dobbs is still playing, huh?
Dobbs is gonna be the starter.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have a lot of depth in the quarterback role, especially with the injuries they've incurred. But I mean, I've seen some promise in Dobbs. I've seen it. So I'm not going to say that the -6 can't happen, but I think they're going to have to play hard.
Yeah, I mean, is Derrick Henry okay? I know didn't play last week.
I'm not too sure about
Yeah,
Derek. I think he's injured.
yeah, I thought so too. Let me take a look real quick at this Tennessee Titans team. Um, but the same thing with the Lions there. Oh, he's fine. No, he's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Like, let me take back what I said about this game. I do like the Jaguars. I mean, they're at home. It's 6 points. I'm probably more comfortable with the money line, but 6 points is a pretty solid number there. Um, but the Jaguars have been playing so well offensively that it's really hard as a defense. You know, the Tennessee Titans defense isn't the best. And now you got a quarterback that's second game of the year, so there's a lot on the line for the Tennessee Titans and in the state their team is in.
Definitely. Moving on, let's talk about Super Bowl predictions. Okay, this is the elephant in the room. We're going into extra innings here for the NFL season. I think it's fair to say. Who you got? And give me a top 3 playoff Super Bowl contenders. Just give me top 3 to be in the Super Bowl, and then give me your team you want to win it.
Depending on Jalen Hurts' injury, obviously those guys I believe will be contending. If I had to give you teams, so 49ers, Eagles, and I'd say the Bengals probably.
Okay.
49ers. I mean, the Bengals. Then you got the Bills hanging around, the Chiefs. The Chiefs always are hanging around there. Um, but yeah, I think that the 49ers just have too much not to make it out of the AFC. Um, and then in the NFC there, I again similar thought with the Eagles. Um, but the Bengals, man, the Bengals are looking pretty scary.
Yep, I agree. So here's my 3. I guess who do you have to win it? Real quick.
If I was to say, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was to say it's going to I believe the 49ers get there and it's going to be either between the Bengals or the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right. So here's my 3: Bills, Bengals, and drumroll please, the Packers.
Really? Wait, so
Yeah.
are the Bengals in the NFC?
The Bengals, I believe, are AFC.
And so are the Bills, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and KC. And that's right, the 49ers are the NFC
That's
with
right.
with the fucking Eagles. Oh shoot. Okay. So I'm wrong. Mine's wrong. Completely off.
Okay. You want to redo it? Run it back to me.
49ers and Bengals.
49ers and Bengals.
I
As
just
your
had
final game.
I had my NFC and AFC off. Yeah. Yeah, 49ers
Okay.
and Bengals.
Yeah, I like the Packers. I think I throw the Bucks in there as a honorable mention, and if they make it, then so be it. I will not be mad about it. Okay. I think it'll be a race to the finish. And I don't know, man. I don't think if Jalen Hurts stays injured or if he can't make it for whatever, I think they could lose in the playoffs. I really do.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's possible, right? Anything's possible at this point. Who's gonna make it in? That's a bigger question. And then obviously you still got the Chiefs hanging around there as well. So who do I have winning it all? I still got to give it to Bills Mafia because I think they can pull it together, especially with this DAMAR situation. This is only going to be fuel to their fire, and I hope it is. And I think DAMAR would want that more than anything else. for that to be the fuel to the fire for his team to go out there and play well. But the Bengals are going to be tough to beat, okay? And the Packers, you can never count them out. So I
Packers
think,
are NFC, so yeah,
yeah,
right.
Packers are NFC, yeah, and I think we didn't limit ourselves to either AFC or NFC there, but it could happen in a lot of ways, and we see a lot of situations unfolding and a lot of possibilities coming to the forefront that could happen, and it's all gonna be decided after this weekend. That's a beautiful thing. It's all gonna be decided. Everything can be put to bed, and we can at least be at peace with whatever we have in front of us at that point.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's a blessing and privilege to be able to have these sports playing, um, and just to be able to witness the greatness that happens every day when it's on the field there with these absolute tremendous athletes.
100%. Well said. Okay, all right. That brings us to the end of the show. Smitty, do you got any final thoughts for the people out there before we sign off?
Nah, I'm all good, man.
All good. Keeping it short and sweet. I want
Yeah,
to thank Smitty for hopping on the DCP tonight in lieu of Musa not being available. Thank you for hopping on, Smitty, and we hope to see you on here more. Hope to see that beautiful face too for the people
yeah,
watching on the video. So,
absolutely, no
um,
problem.
hey, we're looking forward to that, and I'm sure we'll get that as soon as we find out what's going on. But I'll leave it at that, guys. Make sure to check us out online. Check us out on ginsportsnetwork.com for all of our articles, IG posts, and all of our updates. Follow us on IG at Gin Sports Network, and follow us on Twitter at GinPros. You can find me on Twitter as well in the links in the description, and it will be posted there. So you can find out what all that is and get a hold of me, call me out, talk shit to me, do whatever you got to do, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in to Double Coverage, the premier NFL podcast of the Gin Sports Network. I'm John J. II here with Smitty. Have a great night.